Welcome back to Coins Hunter USA, the home of America's hidden treasures. Money bag, if you love discovering rare and valuable coins hiding in your everyday change, you're in the right place. Today, we're diving into one of the most iconic and collectible coins in U.S. history, the Washington quarter. This coin might look ordinary at first glance, but trust me, some of these quarters hold secrets that could shock you: minting errors, rare varieties, and hidden details that can turn just 25 cents into thousands of dollars. So stay tuned till the end, because you never know, the next valuable Washington quarter might already be in your pocket. This is Coins Hunter USA, where every coin tells a story and every story could lead to a fortune. Let's uncover the mystery behind today's coin, the legendary Washington quarter. Fire. Top 1. Today's story is about one of the most fascinating and valuable quarters in U.S. history, the 1967 Washington quarter. At first glance, it seems like just another coin from your pocket change, the familiar face of George Washington on the front, the proud bald eagle on the back. But behind this simple design lies a chapter of American history, full of change, innovation, and, of course, hidden treasures. The year was 1967. The United States Mint was under pressure. Just a couple of years earlier, the nation faced a massive coin shortage due to the rising prices of silver. People were hoarding coins, melting them down for profit, and the mint had to act fast. So, in 1965, silver was removed from quarters, and new coins made of a copper-nickel blend were introduced. By 1967, production was in full swing, and the mint was working around the clock to meet demand. But here's the twist: during this rush, the mint decided to stop using mint marks altogether. That's right. For 3 years, from 1965 to 1967, no U.S. coins carried mint marks. This decision was meant to discourage hoarding, but it also made identifying mint origins impossible, and it set the stage for some incredible minting mistakes and rare varieties that collectors crave today. Now, what makes the 1967 Washington quarter so valuable? It's all about rarity, condition, and minting errors. Because of the high-speed production, many of these coins came out with flaws that turned into treasures. Some 1967 quarters show a double die obverse, where George Washington's face, inscriptions like "In God We Trust," or the date appear slightly doubled. These are among the most sought-after errors in modern U.S. coinage. Then, there are the off-center strikes, coins that weren't perfectly aligned when struck, leaving parts of the design missing and giving the coin a unique, one-of-a-kind appearance. Collectors also look for clipped planchets, where part of the metal blank was accidentally cut off before striking, creating an odd crescent-shaped coin. And perhaps the rarest of all, wrong planchet errors, where a 1967 quarter was accidentally struck on leftover silver planchets from 1964 or on dime blanks. These mistakes are incredibly rare, and when they appear, they can fetch astonishing prices at auction. Let's not forget about the proof-like and high-grade examples. Most quarters from this era were handled roughly and entered circulation immediately, making pristine examples almost impossible to find. But if you discover a coin with a strong strike, sharp details, and mirror-like surfaces, something that grades MS-67 or higher, you could be holding a serious collector's prize. Collectors love these coins not just for their errors but for the story they tell, a story of America's transition from silver to clad coinage, a moment when our everyday change was transformed forever. Every 1967 Washington quarter carries a piece of that history, and that's what makes it special. So, if you have an old coin jar at home, a collection passed down through your family, or even spare change lying around, it's time to check it carefully. Look closely at those quarters. You might just find a treasure hiding in plain sight. The right 1967 Washington quarter, with a rare error or in exceptional condition, has sold for a staggering $99,000, yes, $99,000 for a single quarter that most people would spend without a second thought. Before you spend another coin, take a moment to really look at it. You never know what hidden value it might hold. That's the thrill of coin hunting, discovering a piece of history that's been right in front of you all along. Top 2. We're diving deep into the fascinating world of one extraordinary coin, the United States of America Washington quarter from 1971, a coin that has become the center of attention among collectors around the world. It may look like an ordinary quarter, but in the right condition, or with the right error, it can transform from pocket change into a fortune. Let's go back for a moment to understand why this coin is so special. The year was 1971, a time when America had already transitioned from using silver in coins to a copper-nickel composition. This was a new era for coinage. Millions of quarters rolled out of the U.S. Mint that year, from both the Philadelphia Mint, without a mint mark, and the Denver Mint, with a small D under Washington's neck. Now, most of these coins circulated just like any other, buying coffee, gum, and groceries for decades. But a few of them, a very few, came out different. These are the coins that make collectors' hearts race. Among the most legendary examples are the 1971 quarters accidentally struck on leftover silver planchets, blank coins that were supposed to be used for older 1964 silver quarters but somehow ended up in the minting machine 7 years later. When these were struck with the 1971 design, they created one of the most astonishing minting errors in U.S. history. How can you identify one? Silver quarters from this year have a brighter, lighter color and a distinct metallic ring when gently tapped, unlike the duller sound of modern copper-nickel coins. If you notice that your 1971 quarter looks shinier or feels lighter in weight, don't ignore it. That could be your first clue that you're holding something very, very valuable, but that's not the only kind of rarity collectors hunt for. The 1971 double die obverse quarter is another treasure. This error happens when the die used to strike the coin shifts slightly between impressions, causing details like the word Liberty, In God We Trust, or even Washington's face outline to appear doubled. These doubling errors are fascinating because they are easy to miss unless you look very closely, yet they can multiply the value of the coin many times over. There are also other types of minting errors that make 1971 quarters incredibly collectible. For example, off-center strikes, where a part of the coin design is missing, clipped planchets, where a portion of the metal blank was cut incorrectly before striking, broad strikes, where the collar that normally holds the coin in shape fails, causing the rim to expand outward, die cracks, where a visible raised line runs through Washington's face or the eagle on the reverse. Each of these errors tells a small story from inside the mint, of mechanical misalignment, pressure mishaps, and tiny mistakes that now make these coins worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars to collectors. Now let's talk about condition, something that separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. You see, most 1971 quarters have been heavily circulated, scratched, and worn down through years of use. But if you happen to find one that has survived untouched, still bright, still crisp, with its full luster, you could be looking at a coin graded as mint state, MS. The higher the grade, the higher the value. Coins graded MS66, MS67, or above are extremely rare for 1971 quarters, especially with any error or special variation. For collectors, these coins represent more than just metal, they represent history, survival, and the thrill of discovery. Imagine holding a piece of 1971, perfectly preserved for over half a century, while millions of others were spent, lost, or melted away. That's what makes coin collecting so addictive. It's not just about money, it's about uncovering stories hidden in plain sight. And here's something most people don't know: the mint produced a special, proof version of the 1971 quarter for collectors. These proof coins, struck with polished dies and mirror-like finishes, were never meant for circulation. If one of these somehow escaped into public hands or has unique toning, it could be worth far more than you think. The moral here is simple: never underestimate the coins in your pocket. That 1971 Washington quarter sitting in your change jar might not just be 25 cents, it might be history waiting to be rediscovered. So the next time you find a quarter, look closely. Flip it under a bright light, check the rim for the copper color, or lack of it, listen to the sound, and inspect the fine details under magnification. Because you might be holding one of the rarest 1971 Washington quarters ever made, and if you find one with the right combination of rarity, mint error, and pristine condition, brace yourself, because that small coin could make you richer than you ever imagined. Yes, you heard that right. A single 1971 Washington quarter, with the right mint error and grade, has been valued and sold for as much as $96,000. That's right, $96,000 for one single quarter. Just imagine, a coin most people spend without a thought could actually change your life. So keep your eyes open, keep collecting, and keep learning. Every coin you touch has a story, and one day, that story might just make you a fortune. Top 3. We're diving deep into the fascinating story of one of the most surprising treasures in American coinage, the United States of America Washington quarter from the year 1972. At first glance, it's just a simple 25-cent coin. But beneath its ordinary surface lies mystery, rarity, and value that could blow your mind. What if I told you that one of these quarters, yes, the one you might have in your pocket right now, could be worth thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for. Let's rewind to 1972, a time when America was changing fast. The Vietnam War was still ongoing, the Apollo missions had just ended, and the U.S. Mint was producing billions of coins to keep up with the country's growing economy. Amid that massive production, a few coins slipped through the cracks of perfection, and that's exactly what makes them so valuable today. The 1972 Washington quarter was struck in two major facilities, Philadelphia and Denver, and though they look nearly identical, subtle variations and rare minting mistakes have turned some of these coins into true collector's gold. One of the most fascinating examples is the double die obverse. This happens when the die that stamps the coin shifts ever so slightly during creation, leaving doubled images on Washington's profile, the lettering, or the date itself. If you hold a 1972 quarter up to a light and notice that the letters Liberty or In God We Trust seem to have shadows or outlines, you might just be holding one of these incredibly rare errors. Another major rarity is the off-center strike, where the design is pressed off alignment, leaving part of the coin blank. Each one of these is a unique work of minting imperfection. No two are the same, and that's exactly what collectors crave. Then there are the clipped planchet errors, which occur when a blank piece of metal, called a planchet, is improperly cut before being struck. This creates a coin with a curved or straight missing section along its edge. These mistakes were unintentional, but today they're what gives certain 1972 quarters their charm and immense value, and if you think that's all, think again. Some of the rarest 1972 Washington quarters were accidentally struck on transitional planchets, meaning they were minted on the wrong metal composition, like being struck on a nickel or penny blank instead of the correct copper-nickel clad. These errors result in unusual weights, colors, and even sounds when the coin is dropped. Imagine holding a coin that's unlike any other, a true one-in-a-million minting accident. Collectors also search for die cracks and cuds, raised lines or extra metal blobs on the coin's surface caused by aging dies or overuse. Each one tells a story of how the machinery struggled under pressure, giving us these accidental masterpieces that now sell for thousands. But beyond the errors, condition matters more than anything. Most 1,972 quarters spent decades jingling in pockets, vending machines, and cash registers, losing their shine and detail along the way. But a select few, the ones that escaped circulation, still hold that original mint brilliance. In professional grading terms, these are mint state or MS coins. An MS-66 or MS-67 grade coin, especially with a unique error, can be a jackpot for collectors. Think about it. Out of millions of coins, only a handful survive in such near-perfect condition. They're like time capsules, untouched by human hands, carrying the flawless craftsmanship of a bygone era. Now, let's talk about what truly excites every collector, the value. Over the years, auctions have revealed some jaw-dropping sales. Certain 1972 quarters, especially those with double dies or transitional errors, have sold for incredible prices. Coin collectors across America still hunt for these coins daily, searching through rolls, jars, and estate sales, hoping to be the next lucky person to find one. And why not? Each coin carries a bit of history. George Washington's portrait, designed by John Flanagan, has been on the quarters since 1932, but every year tells a slightly different story. In 1972, the artistry, the slight imperfections, and the minting process all came together to create a hidden treasure few ever noticed. So the next time you receive change from a store or find old coins in a drawer, don't rush to spend them. Take a moment to look closer. Examine the details, the mint mark, the shine, and the edges. You might be staring at something incredibly valuable, a tiny piece of metal worth far more than its 25-cent face value, because believe it or not, a few rare 1972 Washington quarters have sold for an astounding amount, up to $94,000. That's right, $94,000 for a single quarter. Imagine the excitement of realizing your small piece of change could be worth a luxury car, a new house down payment, or a once-in-a-lifetime dream. That's the magic of coin collecting, the thrill of discovery, the joy of history, and the possibility that your next coin might just be the one. Top 4. We're diving into one of the most fascinating pieces of American coinage, the United States of America Washington quarter from 1973. Now, you might be thinking, it's just another quarter. But believe me, once you hear the full story of this coin, its hidden rarity, minting errors, and unbelievable value, you'll never look at your spare change the same way again. The 1973 Washington quarter holds a special place in American numismatic history. Struck nearly 50 years ago, this coin carries more than just the image of George Washington, it carries the legacy of a turbulent time at the U.S. Mint. During this period, the mint was transitioning through multiple changes in production methods, mint mark placement, and metal composition, and those changes led to some of the most incredible minting errors ever seen on a quarter. Let's start with the basics. the obverse features the iconic portrait of George Washington, sculpted by John Flanagan, and the reverse shows the majestic bald eagle, a symbol of American pride and strength. But while the design itself is standard, the magic lies in the imperfections. Some 1973 quarters were struck off-center, with the design misaligned, leaving a portion of the coin blank. These off-center errors can range from minor misalignments to dramatic 50% off-center strikes, and the more dramatic, the more valuable they become. Then there's the double die obverse, where you can clearly see doubling on the words, "Liberty," "In God We Trust," or even the date itself. This doubling effect occurred when the die struck the coin more than once, and today, collectors pay huge amounts for such variations. But that's not all, there's also the no mint mark variety, struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Because the mint sometimes forgot to apply the P mint mark, these quarters appear plain, and that lack of a small letter makes a huge difference in value today. Some rare pieces also feature planchet errors, where the coin was accidentally struck on the wrong type of metal, for example, a copper or nickel planchet meant for another denomination. These coins look slightly off in color and weight, and if you ever find one like that, it could be a jackpot find. Collectors also search for clipped planchets, where a small portion of the coin's edge is missing due to an error during blank cutting. Another fascinating variant is the broad strike, where the coin expands beyond its normal rim during striking. These details might seem small, but they make all the difference between a regular quarter and one worth thousands of dollars. Now, let's talk about why this particular year, 1973, stands out. It was a time when the mint was fine-tuning its coin production systems after years of changes in the 1960s. The focus was on volume, not perfection. That means more chances for small errors to sneak through, errors that collectors now treasure. And because many 1973 quarters were heavily circulated, finding one in mint condition is extremely rare. High-grade examples with full details and minimal wear can fetch an impressive price, even without an error. For the passionate coin collectors out there, this is more than just about money, it's about holding a piece of American history in your hand. Every scratch, shine, and flaw tells a story about its journey through time, from minting presses to pockets, and now possibly into your collection. So next time you come across a 1973 Washington quarter, take a moment to inspect it closely. Look for those subtle doubling marks, off-center strikes, or unusual tones on the surface. Because what may seem like a 25-cent coin could actually be worth a fortune. And speaking of fortune, the highest recorded auction sale for a 1973 Washington quarter with unique errors and pristine condition reached an astonishing $93,000. Yes, you heard that right, $93,000 for a single quarter. That's the power of rarity and precision in the world of coin collecting. So, before you spend your change at the store or hand over that old coin, check it carefully. You might be holding a small piece of treasure in your pocket. If you enjoy discovering the secrets behind US coins and want to learn how ordinary change can turn into extraordinary wealth, make sure you subscribe to Coins Hunter USA, hit the bell icon, and join our community of passionate collectors. Every coin has a story, and your next one could be worth tens of thousands of dollars. Stay curious, keep hunting, and as always, happy coin collecting, my fellow treasure hunters.